Right, grade 11s, we are back and we are going to start with a very, very important section of work. Why? Because in grade 12, there's only in operations two topics that is very, very important. And the one is quality of performance and the other one is the HR function. So many of the things that we do here carries through just like that to grade 12. So if you understand this section very well, you are set up very well for your matric business operations section. So right, without further ado, I'm going to continue. Now guys, on my first slide that I've got here, we've got all the different human resource activities that you guys need to be able to discuss. And we are going to speak about recruitment, selection, induction, placement, salary determination, employee benefits, and legislation. Now those are the human resource activities. So guys, I'm going to go very quickly. We're probably not going to finish the section in time, so I'm going to rather go rather quickly. Okay, now guys, in the next slide, we are going to speak about the concept of a job analysis. Now, in your booklets that you guys received, they only speak about a job description and a job specification. Now, those two things together make a job analysis. Now, guys, it basically means this. Whenever we want to advertise a new position, I need to go and analyze what is the requirements of those jobs. And they have two different sections. The first one is the job description. This is what the job is about, your job title, your tasks and duties and all of those things that you would need to perform. That is the one section, what the job is about. The other section is called a job specification, and that refers to what must the candidate possess in order to do the job in the job description. And that refers to things like your knowledge, skills, experience, and abilities, and all of those things that the candidate needs in order to do the job. Right, so that is a job analysis. It is a very important concept to understand. Right, so I'm going to continue to the next slide. The next slide says, differentiate or distinguish. Those two words mean exactly the same thing between a job description and a job specifications as components of a job analysis. Now, boys and girls, you would see I have in this slide showed you where the split marking would be, because distinguish or differentiate means a split mark answer. Now remember, I told you earlier when Mr. Edwards was presenting, whenever you asked a differentiation question and the question mark allocation is 4, then we are looking for 1 difference. If the mark allocation is 8 marks, then we're looking for 2 differences. So let's quickly have a look. The first one says, describes the duties or responsibilities of a specific job. Now that is where the split would come in. Describes the duties and responsibilities of what? Of a specific job. Now remember, the opposite must show you the difference clearly. And it says it specifies the minimum acceptable skills or qualifications needed for the job. The one, of course, refers to responsibilities and the other one refers to qualifications. Right. Another one, written description of the job and its requirements. And under job specification, you get written description of specific qualifications, experience needed for the job. Now guys, any of those 2 bullet points would be good for 8 marks. But because we are splitting papers up, we have limited amount of marks to work with. So I would not reckon that this question will count more than 4 marks. So if you could remember 2 differences in order to be safe, I think you would be set for your paper. Right. The next one says outline, explain, or discuss the recruitment procedure. Now, guys, I've mostly used the explain or discuss split marking when I allocate the marks, because you guys know that outline is only the essence of the sentence that is important. Full sentence though, for 2 marks at the end. It is way more complicated to understand the explain or discuss portion. So I've mainly used that. So let's just quickly go. Recruitment, of course, guys, refers to, it starts off with doing the job analysis, or that there's a vacancy and then a job analysis, and then it moves on to later when we place the advertisement. Okay, and that is where it ends. Now I'll show you the difference before selection starts and where recruitment ends, because sometimes learners confuse the two with one another quite badly. Okay, so let's quickly go through them. The human resource manager should prepare the job description in order to identify the recruitment needs. Now, the recruitment needs refers to the people that we are looking for. So, with other words, the job description, what must the person be able to do so that we can start looking at who are we looking for that can actually do this job. And then we need to do a job specification to attract suitable candidates. Now, guys, you would also see in your booklet there would be missing words. Now, I've highlighted, you will see there it's in bold. Recruitment is the missing word that you will be looking for, and the other one was suitable. That's the word that you are missing. Right, and then we need to prepare a job analysis. Now, you guys know that if I've done a job description, I've done a job specification, basically what I've done is a job analysis. Right, a decision whether to recruit internally should be made. Now, guys, your booklet doesn't explain to you what internal recruitment is. Internal recruitment means we are looking for candidates that already work for us. They are inside the business already, and now we want to promote them or use them in a different area of this business. Now, that is called internal recruitment. Okay, if a decision whether to recruit internally is made, we need to identify suitable candidates from within our own business. Of course, external recruitment would then be the reverse. That means we are now looking for people outside of our business. We don't have the talent currently inside. We need to look for people outside of the business in order to fill that vacancy. Right. If we have chosen external recruitment, we now need to be looking at the recruitment source. You can see that's the one in bold. Now, the recruitment sources are things like where are we going to find these people or invite them to apply. We can use newspapers. We can go to universities and ask them if there are graduates who would be interested in applying for the job. I could go to things like recruitment consultants to see if I can fill that vacancy from their part. Anything that has got to do with finding people that is not currently working for us. Right, then I need to prepare an advertisement. Now, guys, this is for internal and external. The advertisement with the relevant information, the name of the company, contact details, the contact person, all of those people should be mentioned in this advertisement, and then of course your job description and your job specification forms part of it as well. And right, the last one, place the advertisement in the appropriate media that will ensure that the best candidates will apply for the position. So guys, that is now the recruitment procedure. Now guys, I want you to please take note. The recruitment procedure stops when I have placed the advertisement. The moment that I receive CVs, then a new process starts, and that is called selection. So please make sure you understand the difference between recruitment and selection. Sometimes people answer, we ask for recruitment, and they start saying you get CVs in. Now guys, that is not part of recruitment. That's actually a separate process altogether. Right, I'm going to go to the next one. Right, it says discuss the selection procedure. Now guys, here I've opted to use the marking as you would use in the form of an outline. You would see that the mark allocation is at the end of the sentence. Now guys, you can see it starts with receiving documentation. That is now when you receive application forms, CVs, whatever the case may be. And of course, again there, the word in bold, criteria, is the one that's missing from your book. Right, then I need to evaluate CVs. Now guys, when you evaluate, I look at positives and negatives and I weigh up specific candidates against each other. That is how I evaluate what is the value that each candidate will add so that I can choose the best one. Okay, now we also call that screening. Screening is a very important concept to understand. Screening is when I sort out those candidates that will most definitely qualify for the job with those that do not qualify for the job. They do not have the right experience or the right qualification. All of those, I put them aside. They are not successful. Out of those who actually make it, I now create what we call a short list of possible candidates. Right. Then I'm going to check the information in the CVs and contact the references. What I basically need to do is I need to make sure that this person hasn't lied on the CV. And I can do that by contacting a reference. A reference is a person that person has worked for before, that knows that candidate quite well, and I verify that this person, what they are saying in the CV, is actually correct. Right, then I'm going to conduct preliminary sifting interviews to identify applicants who are not suitable for the job. Now, guys, sometimes it's not that apparent from a CV that an applicant is actually suitable or not suitable for a job, but it becomes abundantly clear when I start asking them questions regarding the position that they want to fill, and then I can make that short list a lot shorter. But these are not the final interviews. These are just sifting interviews. I'm still sorting out the applicants that would definitely qualify for the position. Then I can give them tests. This is now like aptitude tests or something like that to make sure that I choose the right candidate. Now, guys, you don't need to know this, but there's a lot of legal repercussions when it comes to psychological or psychometric testing of candidates. So just bear that in mind. The next one is I then conduct the main interview with those shortlisted candidates. And then if I choose the relevant person, the whole section here, selection process, ends with me offering that person employment. And of course, in writing, I don't just say that. I need to offer them that position in writing. Right, so that is the selection procedure. Okay, now guys, just as you had earlier, there is before, a during, and an after. And you can see in this slide, I have highlighted certain words for you. I don't think in grade 11 you guys need to do anything else but this particular slide. But in grade 12 it becomes important. There are certain things that you do before an interview, certain things that you do during an interview. And then there's also something else that is important. And that are we referring to the interviewer, the person conducting the interview, or are we referring to an interviewee, the person that's sitting through the interview that needs to answer the questions? So please be very careful when you read the questions, that you read it well so that you give me the right answer, that you're answering the question. Right, so let's quickly go through that. It says explain or outline or discuss the role of the interviewer during the interview. Now, guys, remember, we don't prepare questions for the interview during the process as which it happens. That we do in preparation for the interview, not during. So those are those small little things that you need to be careful for and read your questions carefully. So let's just quickly see. This is the interviewer, the person conducting the interview. Allocate the same amount of time to whom? To each candidate. That is where the split comes in. Introduce members of the interviewing panel. Now, guys, normally there's more than one person that's conducting this interview. So you need to introduce all the other members because you need to make this interviewee feel at ease. Right. And then make the interviewee feel at ease. You greet them, offer them coffee, whatever, because it's a very, very stressful thing to go through, is to sit through an interview. And you want this person to be as honest as possible so I can get the true reflection of what this and who this person is. Right. Explain the purpose of the interview to the panel and the interviewee. Record the interviewee's responses. For what reason? For future references. Do not mislead the interviewee. Don't tell them things that's not going to happen. Don't make promises that you cannot keep. You need to be honest. Right, then I need to provide an opportunity for the interviewee to ask any questions that they are not certain about. And then, of course, I need to close the interview by thanking the interviewee for attending the interview. What is most important here, guys, is that you look at these things as everything is happening during. I don't prepare for questions beforehand. I don't make sure I'm dressed correctly. Those things I do before, not during. Right. Guys, as I said, I'm going to go through these things quite quickly. Right, the next one is name the aspects or the content of the employment contract. Now, guys, you would see I've allocated only 1 mark because mostly this is one of those lower order questions that a question on human resources will start off with. Something like name what should be included in the employment contract. Now, guys, 1 mark answers here. It is very simple, and I can tell you now, I know from my experience in grade 11 and grade 12, mostly these questions get full marks. It is just logical thinking. You can imagine what you would like to see when you are offered employment. What do I want to see in my contract? What do I get paid? I want to see how much hours I need to work and so forth. So let's just quickly go through some of these things. Right. In the employment contract must be the personal details of the employee and, of course, the business as well. The job title or the position that this person will have. Your job description is very important. What is the duties that he is expected to perform? The job specification, the formal qualification, willingness to travel. The willingness to travel is really important because that forms part of what this person needs to do. And if that's not specified there and you say to this person you need to go for a week to the Eastern Cape, he's going to say it's not on my job description. So you need to specify it that is part of the job that they need to do. Right. The next one is your date of employment, and that is when they will start working. Place where the employee will spend most of his or her working time, the hours of work, remuneration. That is, remuneration means your payment. That is everything that we will do in order to compensate this person for the time that they spend with us. And then, of course, any benefits or fringe benefits that the person may be getting. That's like pension funds, medical aids, staff discounts, whatever the fringe benefit would be. And guys, you don't need to have the entire sentence there to get 1 mark if the question was name or list. Okay. Right. The next one is outline, explain, or discuss the purpose of induction. Now, guys, induction, I'll go through all of these things with you now, but induction is a very favorite question that they ask quite often in grade 12 because it's so easy to fill up spots where they still need a couple of marks. Now, guys, basically what induction means, the person is now working for us, but they don't know where the stationery is. They don't know who the people are that they need to go and ask for things. They don't know where to find their office even. You need to give this person a tour and familiarize this person with their surroundings so that they can become quite active and very, now I'm looking for a word, Mr. Edwards, they need to become productive as soon as possible, and that is the whole purpose of induction. Need to get these people stress-free, familiarized with the surroundings, so that they can work to the best of their ability as soon as possible. So let's just quickly go through your memo. It says, you guys can see I've highlighted some words for you here that will make it easy for you to remember, and you can use the icons in order for you to remember. One's brain works better in pictures. So the first one says introduce. Okay, introduce new employees to the management and colleagues that they will be working with. to establish relationships. Now, guys, the moment that I can start making relationships or friendships, I'm already at ease, and that will make me feel a lot more confident, and I can be productive sooner. Right, the next one, welcome. Make new employees feel welcome by introducing them to their physical workspace. That is their office, the place where they will spend their time. Right, the next one, tour. Give new employees a tour or information about the layout of the buildings and offices so that they can find the places where they need to get to a lot sooner, and they don't waste other people's time trying to ask them constantly where they need to go. The next one is familiarize. Familiarize new employees with the organizational structure. Now, guys, this is the organogram. Who do I report to? Who is the boss of that person? So I know how this organization actually fits into each other. Okay, and the last one, ask questions. Allow new employees the opportunity to ask questions because that will alleviate their anxiety. Okay, and guys, that is induction. Right. The next one is outline, explain, discuss the placement procedure. Now, guys, induction is after an employee was selected, they've been offered employment in writing. Now we need to find him the place where he will be most productive, the right place where this person can work and be productive. Now, that is placement. And as all of these HR activities, it has a specific procedure. So the first one says the employer should outline specific responsibilities of the employee's new position. Right, you can see where the split goes. The next one, the employer should determine the relationship between the expectations of the position and the competencies of the employee. That means I now know that this guy is very good at doing certain things, and therefore he will be more suitable to this kind of work that he needs to do. So that is what that sentence means. Right, and then the last one, determine the employee's strengths, weaknesses, skills, and interests by subjecting him to various psychometric tests. Now, guys, a psychometric test is a test that they use to measure your natural ability in certain things. An IQ test, for example, is a psychometric test, but you cannot use that to make a person not hire a person based on a psychometric test. It is only an example that you're going to use to see what is this person's personality like and where will they gel the best in this whole organization.
I can just add something there, Mr.
Yes.
Pansel. Obviously here you're also referring to where's the person going to be happiest, because you don't want someone being unhappy in a particular situation. They're going to be demotivated, and again, looking at the ultimate aim is for them to be as productive as possible.
You are absolutely right, and I like it that you brought up the whole idea of being happy where you are, because happiness as a direct link to productivity, not just now but later on that person's life as an employee in the business as well. We are going to spend a lot of money training this person and gaining or giving him the skills that he needs. But if he's not happy, what is he going to do? Eventually he's going to resign. And then all of that money that we've spent in developing this person is going to be used somewhere else for another business and not for us. And that is an important aspect. That fit, personality fit, and that's also why we do interviews, is to match a person's personality to the culture of the organization. If that's a misfit, then the person is bound not to be happy there, and we are going to spend money training people that will not remain with us.
Yeah. And just an interesting point at the moment is that here we're talking about the HR function, but how different it is now in the last 2 years. as opposed to before that, where placement, for instance, or induction, for instance, was so different because you would be going to a physical place, a physical workplace. Whereas now, very many people are working online, and they don't necessarily have those aspects, but yet they are still requiring to be or to be happy, to be motivated, to feel welcome in the workplace.
But they still need to know
workplace it is.
They still need to know who to report to. They still need to know what the rules and regulations of the business are. They still need to know who to contact if they've got a problem with, I don't know, payments or whatever. So an induction process, although they're not going to a physical place, they still need to be inducted into the business and the culture of this organization. It's funny that you should mention, I'm going to carry on now, but I know with Standard Bank and Nedbank, they are moving away from the banking systems that we used to know before COVID, and it's moving to a more decentralized system where people are going to work from home. So many of the buildings and offices and things are not needed anymore, and I think they've seen the value in that. So it might be a relevant example, not necessarily for this, but to use maybe in an essay question for an originality mark. Right, guys, I'm going to continue. Another question that you might get asked is to distinguish between piecemeal and time-related salary determination methods. Now, guys, piecemeal, I'm just going to give it to you in short. Piecemeal means I am paying for the work done, not necessarily for the time spent. Okay, so every time a worker finishes a specific job, I pay him for that specific job, not for how long it took him to do that. Okay, so you guys can go through the memo yourselves. I'm just going to give you 2 pictures to explain the whole thing. Right, now what I've got there, I hope it's clear for you to see. My grandfather used to be a sheep farmer, or was a sheep farmer, and when they sheared sheep, for example, they would hand in the wool of the sheared sheep, and he will give them a token. And at the end of the day, the worker will give him all the tokens, and he will pay them for each sheep sheared. So it's not for, it could have taken them 2 days. They don't get 2 days pay. They get paid per sheep sheared. Okay, and time related, of course, is just the opposite. Time related means that you get paid for the time spent at home, or time spent at work, for the amount of hours that you are there. Normally your salaried workers work exactly on that system. Now guys, I am out of time, so I'm just going to give you the memo of what is left in your booklet. So just pause. Since this is recording, you can pause and you can mark your work. So that's what I'm going to do. So there's that one. And the rest was actually things that we have already covered. So Mr. Edwards, I think that brings us to the end of our presentation, and I had a very good time with you here, and I hope it was helpful to my grade 11 students, and I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the year, end of the year, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Van Zyl. Yeah, fantastic afternoon, and hopefully you got some important information out of it. And yeah, lastly, just wishing you all the very best. Stay safe out there, and have a good rest of 2021.